green eyes and perpetual frown, alone. And yet, he really had to pee. When he couldn't hold it any longer, he slipped out of bed and tiptoed across the room. Not that there was any chance of waking Lizzie, who'd never met a noise she couldn't sleep through. She'd even slept through the hour-long ferry ride from Vancouver to Heron Island, despite the thunderous engine and the waves that rocked the boat from side to side. Mom and Dad hadn't wanted to wake her, so they'd all stayed in the rental car, and Leo had tried not to think about the deep, dark water churning beneath them. He and Santos had once spent several weeks exploring the ocean in a game called Neptune 3, The Deepest Dive, so he knew a thing or two about how incredibly dark and unbearably cold it was down there. He opened the bedroom door and made sure the coast was clear before creeping down the hall toward the bathroom. His toes curled on the cool wood, and he missed the soft carpet in their condo at home. He hurried to the bathroom and pushed open the door, only to discover that his mental map wasn't just sketchy, but completely wrong. For there was Grandpa, standing in his bedroom, clutching a giant book to his chest. Leo yelped and stumbled back. Grandpa's green eyes widened, then narrowed. "Bathroom?" he said. Leo gulped and nodded. Grandpa pointed at the door across the hall. Leo spun around, dove into the actual bathroom, and shut the door. After he'd peed and washed his hands, he stood quietly at the door, listening for grumble huffs in the hallway. Hearing none, he opened the door, only to find Grandpa still standing in his bedroom doorway, staring at him. Leo yelped again, and Grandpa shushed him. Then he motioned for Leo to follow him and stomped off down the hall. "Oh no," Leo whispered. What could he possibly want? Wishing he'd never gotten out of bed, he followed Grandpa down the hall into the kitchen. The walls in Grandpa's kitchen were painted school bus yellow, and with the morning sun streaming through the window over the sink, the room practically glowed. It was the sunniest room Leo had ever seen, which was funny because Grandpa was the stormiest person he'd ever met. Grandpa picked a mug up off the kitchen table, sipped from it, then set it back down with a thud. "How are you with bees?" he asked. Leo blinked. "Bees?" "Bees," Grandpa repeated. Leo opened his mouth, then shut it. He'd never considered how he was with bees. In Applewood Acres 3, What's the Buzz, he and Santos had managed 50 beehives, or they tried to, until an unseasonable cold snap killed nearly all their bees, costing them thousands of points. But those were virtual bees. Real-life bees could sting. Leo had never been stung before, so he wasn't sure if he was allergic like Santos, whose face would inflate like a balloon when he got stung. Leo had never actually seen this happen, but it sounded awful. So that was a mark against bees. Of course, bees weren't all bad. In fact, they were very important. Earlier that year, in 5th grade science class, Leo's teacher had asked the students to list everything they'd eaten the previous day, then cross off all the foods that required bees for pollination. Everything from apples to peanut butter to the chocolate chips in a granola bar. Without bees, Leo had concluded, he'd be living off mostly cheese. But then his teacher reminded him that cows and goats ate grasses that needed bees for pollination, which meant... "Leo!" Grandpa snapped his fingers. Leo blinked, returning to the sunny kitchen and Grandpa's cold stare. Grandpa sighed. "I was going to ask you to come with me on an important mission. I thought you might be the right person." "You did?" Leo was surprised. "What is it?" Grandpa set his giant book down on the table, where Leo could read the title. Everything Bees. "I have to tell them something." "Tell who?"